Hi, I'm Phyllis from southernfrugal.com. We're fixing to make a quiche Lorraine. Now this is like the original recipe for quiche. There are all kinds of other versions of it, but this is probably the original recipe for quiche Lorraine. Now the French say they invented the little cheese pie, and the Germans say they did. It really doesn't matter who, but it's a really great pie, and it can be your main source of protein for a meal. So the first thing we're going to do is fix the crust. And we are going to make a homemade crust. All right, 1 1/3 cups all-purpose flour, 1/2 teaspoon of just regular table salt. Sprinkle that all in. 1/2 cup Crisco shortening. Now this isn't the butter flavor or anything, just regular Crisco shortening. And we're going to need 1 egg yolk, and I'm going to mix that with about 3 tablespoons of cold ice water. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And to get the ice water, I'll just put a couple of little ice cubes in the bowl. So I'm going to start out and I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of ice water in with the single egg yolk. Now I might need a 1/4 spoon of the ice water, but we'll just wait on that. So I'm going to just mix this little egg yolk up in the water, beat it up real good. Just set that aside. All right, adding the Crisco to the flour and salt. I'm just going to use my hands. Now I've already got 2 pieces of saran wrap to make sure that now. Sorry, the camera messed up. All right, so 1/2 cup of Crisco in with the flour. We're just going to mix that all up with our hands, just because it is a lot faster when you do it with your hands, for one thing. Now the Crisco does make a flakier crust than using butter or really lard makes a better crust, but we know lard is really bad for you. And Crisco isn't that much better for you, but anyway, it makes a good crust. All right, so we're going to mix it in until the little pieces of Crisco are about pea size. And that's really all it takes, about right there. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and dump in my egg with the my egg yolk with the 3 tablespoons of ice water. Dump that right in, mix it in. Now if you're going to need a 1/4 teaspoon, you'll know it pretty quick. So I'm just going to mix that all in with my hands. And what I'm looking for is for it to all come together into one big kind of lump. All right, it looks like we're not going to need that extra tablespoon of water. But flour's different, you know, from one bag to the next, even the same brand, so you never really know for sure until you start actually doing it. All right, so it's coming together and coming loose from the sides, and it's all kind of joining up together in one big lump. All right, now next thing we want to do is form this into a kind of a disc. Set that aside. Just form it into a disc over your 2 sheets of saran wrap. And I'm just mashing it out with my hands, getting it into a round shape. Just continue to press it out. Again, keeping it in that round shape as much as you can. All right, that ought to be good enough. I'm going to put 2 more sheets of saran wrap right over top of it. Spread it out. And put another sheet over to the side to make it wide enough. There it is, in a little round disc shape. Now let me see if I can move in a little closer with this. There we go. There. Okay, so I'm going to start rolling in the middle. Then I'm going to roll it up this way, then this way, and then turn it around and roll it this way. Try to keep it in this round disc shape, and just so it'll fit my my pie pan better. And just put a little pressure on it and roll it out. Now I've preheated my oven to 425 degrees, and I'm going to actually bake this for about 5 minutes before I put the filling in it. And that's because the filling that I'm going to use is going to be a little bit runny, so I want to make sure none of it leaks out of my pie crust. Alright, let's see if that's going to be enough. That ought to do it. Let's just see. Now this time I am using a 9-inch pie plate, and this is a Pyrex glass plate. Alright, that looks like it'll be good enough. So I'm going to take off my 2 top layers of plastic, and I'm just going to pick this up, flip it over, and try to center it in my pie plate. It's much easier to work with when you use the plastic. Much, much easier. And the first thing you want to do is just make sure that the bottom of the crust goes right up to the edge of the pie plate. Okay? And I just keep doing these videos on making the pie crust, because a lot of things that I make have to have a pie crust, and I figure if I do enough videos and keep doing the pie crust, that I'll get a lot of people making them instead of buying those that you get in the freezer or the refrigerator section at the grocery store. Alright, now I'm going to use my scissors, take out this little plastic. Now on this pie crust I want a little, a good little edge on it, so I'm going to just cut it off a little bit right around the edge to make it even. Okay, that ought to be good enough. Just get that out of the way. Alright, now I'm going to flute it the way that I generally flute it. I'm just going to turn that under a little bit and pinch it. Pinch it with my 2 fingers. And this should go very quickly. And now, because this is going to be baked a little bit before we put the quiche filling in it, I'm going to brush it with a little bit of egg white and water. And that's going to be the extra little egg white that I had left over from the egg yolk that I used in the pie crust itself. Alright, we're almost finished. Here we go. Now I'm just going to mash it out a little bit. I want to know if I've got any major air pockets up under this crust. And the best way to figure that out is just flip your pie crust over and look. Now see one right there and one over there. So I'm just going to prick that with a fork, that one over here, and then just mash it out with my fingers and close that hole back up. Alright, that ought to do it. This is the leftover egg white with about a tablespoon of water, and I'm just going to brush that in the crust. Just a little bit, don't want much in there. And this is to help the quiche to not leak out in any way, you know, in under the crust. Alright. There you have it. Alright, we're going to put this in the oven for 5 minutes at 425 degrees. I'll be right back. Alright, we are now ready to make our filling. Now, you will need 8 ounces of grated Swiss cheese. Now, I could not find it in one big lump, so I had to actually get the Kraft slices. And so this is 8 ounces of Swiss cheese, and it was a little difficult to grate it, but I just kind of put it together and grated it anyway. Alright, you'll also need 6 eggs, 6 whole large eggs, 1 1/4 cups of whipping cream, and that's the heavy whipping cream. Alright, now we just need to mix these together. Get a bowl. I'm going to use just a whisk. You really don't need a mixer for this. Got my eggs in. Kind of break up those yolks. And this really goes pretty quick. Some of that crust out of the way. Alright, that ought to do it. Now, to this mixture, we're going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Again, nutmeg is very good in any kind of dish that you would use milk in. All right, 1/8 of a teaspoon. And the nutmeg is very French. Just mix that in. One 1 1/4 cups of heavy cream, right in with the eggs. Just mix that up. And you really don't need to use an electric mixer with this. It's better to just use a whisk. And you probably want to use a bigger bowl than I used. Alright, that's pretty well got it mixed in there. And now we're going to put in 1/2 teaspoon of salt. That ought to do it right there. Throw that in, mix it around. Alright, now the other thing you'll need is 8 strips of bacon cooked crispy. Now, I don't have 8 strips, I only have 4 because somehow or other they got missing. I don't know how, but they did. But anyway, with the one you make, use 8 strips of crisp bacon. And just crumble that all up, because you're going to put this in the bottom of your pie shell. That will be the first layer. The second layer will be the Swiss cheese. And then you'll pour this liquid mixture right over top of all that. Now, I don't really crumble my bacon up all that much, but now this bacon was cooked a couple of days ago and I put it in the refrigerator. We ate part of it, and I knew I was going to make the quiche Lorraine, so I put this back in the refrigerator. Alright, as soon as that pie crust is ready, we'll be right back. Okay, my pie crust has pre-cooked for about 5 minutes at a 425 degree oven. I'm going to sprinkle in my bacon right on the bottom. And of course you need 8 pieces of bacon would be better. I'm only using 4, but 8 would be better. Or even more if you really like bacon. Alright, now we're ready for our Swiss cheese. This is 8 ounces of Swiss cheese shredded. So I'm going to just put that all on the bottom. Spread it around. Alright. Now we're ready for our egg and whipping cream mixture. Just mix that up a little more. And just gently pour it over. Now you obviously don't want it to come up over your pie shell. I think we're going to be close here. Alright. Now I'm going to just make sure my cheese is all wet and mashed down into the mixture. And sort of spread out evenly. Okay, now this is going to puff way up. And once it's done, it might even crack, but that's okay, and that would be because it's got so many eggs in it. Now I'm going to put this back in the oven for 35 to 40 minutes at 350 degrees. And when all this gets done and we're ready to eat lunch, we'll be back. Okay, while I'm waiting for the quiche to get done, I wanted to show you the recipe real quick. And I will list this recipe down under the video in the description box. There's how to put it all together. Okay, again, I'm going to put the ingredients in the description box. Alright, when it's done, we'll be back. Okay, the quiche is done, and see how it puffed way up? Now if it gets a few cracks in it, don't worry about that. I actually ended up cooking mine for really 50 minutes. Now my oven's crazy. Used to, when I made it in my other oven, I only really cooked it about 40 minutes. So anywhere from 35 to 40 minutes. And you don't want to really overcook it because it's got a lot of eggs in it. Okay, I'm going to plate this up as soon as it gets cooled, and I'll show you what we have with this meal. Okay, our lunch is ready. The quiche is done and all cooled, and we're having this with some sliced tomatoes from the garden, some little baby cucumbers, and this is kale that I froze last September, and I got that at the farmer's market, a great big bushel of it. Again, there is the quiche Lorraine. So I've got to just fix the tea and we're ready to eat. Alright, here's the pie. And as you can see, I've taken 2 big pieces out of it. So this is enough for, this pie will make 6 fairly large pieces. And that can be your protein for the meal. So it works really well. Alright, see you next time.